where we can also go to global validation of the KTP. This is not for anyone. It's a BSc class is so first I learned about it very recently. Not a school developed because it's not a route of opportunity. It's just like, oh my God, I don't want to use the word route because the route of opportunity is about them, it's in there, that short. So start with what is the development? How does it have to do with it? The development visa is just like practically just like any other business. It gives you access to work, live and work, but this time around in the United Kingdom. So as someone who can grant of funds and here to the United Kingdom, for someone who's relocating to the United Kingdom, about time is is a business platform for you to work in the United Kingdom. So this is how it works. So unlike other visas that gives access, like give access, thinking about that visa enables number one, we are able to yeah. So a lot of people reach out to me, oh, I want to about furthering my career. Whether you want to go study as much as possible, and think about that and live further in the United States. It gives you the ability, it gives you the platform to study in order to be put in the two you're able to work full time. You can work and you have various very different options. You can work full time, with a company, you can try to juggle a number of jobs together, maybe part-time jobs and the likes of it. But you can also start your own business, you can self-employed, you can work in your business. You have no restrictions whatsoever in the way you should work and in how much you get to earn and command as your earning at all as an immigrant from the UK. So it is something that gives you that very much flexibility. When it comes to living in the UK itself, it enables you to and you are able to live outside of the UK for as much as 6 months and again, on like several many visas the student visa you can't live outside of the UK for up to 6 months a year because you have to meet academic work or your academic and expect you to really engage with academic services. So with your academics. So then another perks of the global talent visa is that it enables you to what is the word I'm looking for the word to borrow right now? It enables you to I think I mentioned that already. You can start your business. You can start your business and definitely if your son is married, your wife or spouse and your children can be dependent on this visa. And you also get to enjoy all the benefits that you personally are enjoying with visa, right? So that is the beauty. Now, in terms of two-stage process, the global talent visa, the two-stage process technology. Number one, especially for most people. Why do I say most people? Most people are probably do not have eligible prices. So I say most people because if you have an eligible price, and by eligible price, I'm talking in the ranks of the Nobel Prize Award, Academy Award, the Pulitzer Prize, think there's one that's called the visa price. So any of these prices, there's an exhaustive list. If you have them, you just go straight to the visa application because if you have been awarded them, because they consider you to be high, right? Because they consider you to be an high profile individual and not just an high profile individual, like a globally recognized person. If you have the Nobel Prize award, you don't need to go through the two-stage process of the two go ahead and apply directly for the visa stage two process. And now you just will be required, yeah, you just pay the visa fee and apply that fees to onboarding your dependents after you've gotten a visa. So, however, for other people who do not have eligible prizes, you have an academy award prize, you don't have a, a Booker Prize, for example, for people in literature, or or I think the Nobel Prize again for academics, like the Nobel Prize in physics, the Nobel Prize in mathematics, all of these things. If you don't have this, the route to get to the global talent visa is going to be a two-stage process for you. So, yeah, so that is that about that. So now, for people like I, who do not have not have so for people, professionals like yourself and myself who do not have an eligible price, let me share my screen for that. You can see. Who do not have an eligible price, the global talent visa process for you is becomes a two-stage process, right? So yeah, so we have all of these details. You can apply for a global talent visa for you after many of these things. Yeah, it must also be at least 18 years old. Then before you apply, good. So this was what I was saying earlier on. I said, uh, if you have an eligible prestigious prize, you can skip the two-stage process. But if you have not won an eligible prestigious prize, you need to get an investment course, prove that you are individually or potentially beneficial. And this is my thinking, guys. This is my thinking. Anyone, if there's a global talent visa for anyone. And the reason I'm very passionate about this business is because we have quite a lot of people who are relocated, and or we have quite a lot of people who are relocating, and they are leaving their country because like constrained, they feel constrained in their countries, but they are leaving to places like the UK to just go and study and not just study. These high profile people who are just leaving to go and study, uh, or they are living on a different route, and by the time they're getting there, they are very much restricted. So yes, a good conference is for everyone. So and this is my mindset. My mindset is that you either qualify for it, and in fact, this breakdown is going to wow, you either qualify for it or you what you have to do is to work yourself towards a strategy like under 1 2 years and you will be like in fact, I think there was another session I had where I broke it down that more one of the there's nothing wrong with you being with it. I'm not going to repeat of that because I already addressed this in one of the previous masterclass that was there. I think what I was taught last month, in the month of yeah, that was third and simple. So we find that somewhere. So for people who do not, people like professionals like myself and myself, who do not yet have an eligible express price, forms the process of getting the global talent visa becomes two stages. Stage one, you need to get an endorsement. Then, after you get the endorsement, you can now apply for a visa. So now, this session, all this introduction I've done is to just introduce the fact that to bring it back to where we are. So this session is now addressing how you can get an endorsement. One of the routes for you to get an endorsement without one of the routes for you to get an endorsement to get an endorsement without the old long list of requirements that is popularly that popularly goes along with the global talent application. So today I told you again that I am showing you how to get the global talent visa as a KTP associate, which is actually a passport. So again, for me to now consciously integrate your KTP, because that's the next thing. What is KTP? Because we are asking like, what is KTP? What really is KTP? Is it why is it sounding like API? Why is it sounding like API? Why is it sounding like all this? Is it something about knowing your customer or something? What is KTP? The routes for the global talent visa are we have academia, we have arts and culture, then we have digital technology. We have academia for research, we have arts and culture, we have digital technology. So the KTP Associates stuff has to do with academia research. Under academia research, so actually in full sense, there are three main routes for the GTV, and under those three main routes, there are like sub routes for the GTV for getting endorsed, for becoming endorsed. So, and that is why the first thing I tell a lot of people who are interested in the global talent visa. One thing I first tell them is that you need to first evaluate, or we should help you evaluate the route you are most aligned with, the route you are going to potentially to get a global talent visa. So that is how we do it. So under the academic or research, academic leader or researcher, we have these four different. We have academic or researcher, we have individual fellowship, we have UKR I endorsement, that is UK Research and Innovation Endorsement, a peer review. So, and all of these routes under the academic or researcher routes for getting the BTV, they have their requirements. For the KTP, it falls under the UKRI. The UKRI. I think I've also had a masterclass where I broke down the UKRI in exhaustive detail. Not necessarily exhaustive, but at least I broke down all the parts in exhaustive detail. I would save us the time to go into those details, over those details again. So you can just go to the previous masterclass that was held concerning academic and research, and you see it here. So now, what is KTP? Here we are. KTP simply is knowledge transfer partnership. Knowledge transfer partnership. And when we're talking about knowledge transfer partnership, just like you see on this, knowledge transfer partnership works between an innovative business, a knowledge base, which is like a university or a research institution, and someone that has a BSc. So it is like a Venn diagram. A knowledge transfer partnership is practically, bringing it to mathematics then, is a Venn diagram connecting a knowledge base that is always a university or a research center, or an academic institution or a research center, an innovative business, and I just realized that some of leader. Can you confirm you can hear me clearly now? Can you hear me clearly? All right. So a knowledge base, an innovative business, in fact, I'm supposed to do another session because I'm very much passionate about helping people to be positioned, helping people and business to be positioned. I'm supposed to do another session where I talk about, how a business can be a part of this scheme, that the knowledge transfer partnership scheme, how a business can be a part of that session talking about that. But that is not all. The point is, a knowledge transfer partnership is a partnership that is designed, just like you see on the website, is a partnership that is designed to bring together all thinking businesses and experts academics to tackle strategic innovation challenges to deliver economic, societal, or environmental outcomes. So it is actually a partnership between a company that has some innovation around some things that they're working on, innovation to bring to the society, to the environment, to the economy, and an academic institution or a research institution, right? So now, because it is going to be very, very cost intensive, the entire academic institution working with the innovative business or the innovative business idea. What they now do is that they get a middleman called a KTP Associate, who the knowledge base is always called the university, the research university or the research institution is usually referred to as a knowledge base. So the graduates here, or the associate here, the person that becomes the KTP associate, is like the middleman that transfers the knowledge from the extensive research done by the academic institution or the research institution into real life scenario applications that drives business growth and economic, societal, and relevant environmental outcomes in the innovative business. So that is practically what the breakdown of how this. So that's the breakdown of how this works practically. And unlike a lot of people who know about the global talent visa, let me do a bit of digression. A lot of people know about the global talent visa. They know about it to require that you need maybe like at least a PhD for you to become, for you to even be considered, for you to have, it's very, it always sounds very high level. But this one practically requires someone with a bachelor degree. Yeah, with a bachelor's. So if you have a bachelor, you have been given a bachelor's, you are qualified for this one, essentially. So how does it really work? Because now I have to like streamline it down to how it works for you as somebody who needs to get the global talent. I've not seen talk. Okay, let me quickly talk about the connection of the KTP global talent. So you remember we saw something that for the academia and research route for the QTB, we have 4 sub-routes. And these sub-routes include getting an academic job or getting a research job. I know some of you are already thinking maybe KTP for that research. No, KTP is not for research. So, right. The second thing is individual form grants. So if somebody has gotten a grant, the person with the grant they have gotten, depending on if it meets the requirement, the person can be able to apply for the global talent visa. Then the third one, we have the UK, that is the United Kingdom Research and Innovation Endorsement Fund, right? And that's like given to like a group of people and like this is where exactly the KTP falls under. Why does the KTP fall under this? Now, let me go into how this works. So the old way the KTP works is that actually KTP is funded by the UK's government fund, Innovate. The KTP is like run by the UK government. So Innovate UK. So Innovate UK is like the UK's government's endowment fund to promote innovation, to promote innovation across sectors in the United Kingdom. So this is actually run, this knowledge transfer partnership is actually managed by the UK's innovation agency, that's the innovation. So, and then in terms of how it now works, so the KTP stuff, like I said, it's connected to partners together. What is the first partner? The first partner is the knowledge base. The knowledge base are like the research organizations and the likes of it. And the university research team that is trying to collaborate to innovate in that particular area. Then we also have the business that needs, because the business is like the end user in the sense of, or the, should I say end user? The business is like, yeah, let me use what the end user of the whole partnership that is staged. Then the graduate is the one who is used to transfer the knowledge from the research body or from the knowledge base to advance the innovative business. So now this relationship, this Venn diagram, is funded first by the Innovate UK and so other endowment funds for the from the from UK government agencies, as well as the did I say the government or the public sector. Then these bodies they usually take up like between 50 and 67% of the fund. Then innovating business, the business itself that is trying to innovate, also now releases like contributes about 40 to 50% of the funding, right, for to drive that particular innovation. So what I'm trying to make is that this is so much government backed, it's so much backed by the UK government, and then this is how it works. So if I was addressing like business founders and the likes of it who already have like established business, to be a different route that I'll be using to explain this. But as it relates to people like yourself who's on this call, who are looking to like get the global talent exam, that's what I'll just be going for to do. So let me just read a little bit of paperwork right here as you can see on my screen. So how does a KTP works? A KTP project will last anywhere between 12 months and 3 years. Over 15% of associates are offered employment by their host business at the end of the year. So, in fact, I'm going to all of these things, reading all of these things, you can even see the screen. So, I got to learn about this actual KTP title, from the guest of our last guest on the From That Sphere Investment. If you have not seen that, what's the word? If you have not seen that video, you should check it out on YouTube. It's currently on YouTube. I've done a lot of views, but check it out to get more clarity because I got to watch to. In fact, she shared, her name is Orichi. She shared how that she had considered the global talent technician route, and that when she saw the requirement of that, I give up. I'm not going. I'm not applying. And just like a couple of days after, she got to see a role advertised that had to do with KTP. She applied for the role, and then within 6 months, after she had been onboarded fully for the job, she now realized at the back end of it that with the role, because she was asked a question, that does she have, because she's also an immigrant right into the UK, and as I then I think she was on the PSW, that is post-study visa. So she was asked a question that does she have like a visa, the rights, a visa for, now what visa was she on? And she was like, maybe she was on the PSW. Like, I think the person was even magnanimous because it is not necessarily, people do not actually know that these things exist, right? And she already put that down in that particular episode of From Down to Industry. She broke it down clearly. A lot of people know that these roles exist, number one, and a number of people who are on this road do not actually know that they qualify for the global talent. So I think she got a magnanimous advisor. And by advisor, when it's part of the details of being a KTP associate. As a KTP associate, you are connected because you're the mentor. I'll come to that. But the point was, our direct advisor for the KTP was the one contacting her that, are you going to be interested in the global talent? And before you know it, they just sent her the documents she needed. I think just 3 documents. Then she applied by the endorsement route, and she got the endorsement. She got endorsed, and it's a fast track endorsement. She did not just get endorsed, she also got it as by fast track. It means that she's getting it as an exceptional talent. And this is somebody who was like still very young in her field. So that's the beauty of it. So she got the global talent visa for the 3-year route to permanent residency, unlike she would have done normally if she went to buy the normal route of technician, because she was a product designer. So she is a product designer. So now, this is how a KTP project works. So I recommend that you go check out that video. How she got us, she gets to learn from. I was just mind blown. So that was the first time I was going to get anything about it. So KTP is knowledge transfer partnership, right? And the knowledge transfer partnership project will last anywhere between 12 months and 3 years. Over 50% of that project can be any sector and business of any size, providing they meet the innovate UK eligibility criteria as an employee, which is what. So yes, to cut it short, the KTP stuff, how you can get endorsed, how you can get the global talent visa via the KTP as a KTP associate is simply that you get a KTP associate role. How you can get the global talent visa in 2026? You get a KTP associate role. Now, this thing is not it's for everybody. I mean, it's open for everybody. The benchmark is very, very new. With just a BSc, a recent graduate can get into this program if you're willing to go through the process. One, these positions are quite underserved, and in fact, from this explanation, they are still quite in need of a lot of people to be on board on this, and not a lot of people know that there are opportunities like this for them. So the first thing is that you get a KTP role. How do you get a KTP role? But before I even go into the detail of getting a KTP, I really want to establish what this KTP really kind of looks like. So yeah, as an individual who is applying, you spend most of your time at the business, right? So like I said, you are getting a KTP job, but this is the detail of the job. You get a job to work for a research team to work in the knowledge transfer partnership project. And the knowledge transfer partnership project is between a UK research institution or a UK university and a business, either large or a startup, right? Large businesses or startups, they benefit from it. And yeah, they benefit from it very, very well. So you get a role with for the KTP relationship, and the way it works is that you are working for practically you're working for the university or the research institution, and you're also working for the startup or the business. However, you'll be spending most of your time on the business. But the whole scope of you working for both the research organization, whether the university or the research institution, is that the research team will be teaching you, they'll be mentoring, you can see it's dedicated, coaching and mentoring. You know, they'll be the one doing the research. You're just the one leading the implementation at the business end of things. So you'll be getting access to specialist leadership training. You'll be getting access to become a member of a chartered institute. You'll also be getting your personal training budget subject to authorization and access to the ITOL Certified Innovation Strategy course, right? So KTPs provide a link between an expert academic team and the dynamic company, giving you unique access to both. So you have unique access to number one, the academic team or the research team, and the team at the dynamic companies at the company's end. But however, you are leading the project. You are leading the project. And I'll give you examples of KTP jobs, right? Shortly. But your point is that the KTP, as a KTP person, as a KTP associate, you are leading a project, and the project can last for anything between 12 months and 2 years. And why the project lasts, you know, for 99.9% of the time, you are qualified to apply for the GTV by the endorsement route. So now, because the ball game here for endorsement route, let me quickly go there. All right, so vendors founder route, practically, this is what it entails. So the organization hosting employee or hosting you must be approved by UKRI. And in this situation, you are going to be approved. All KTP roles are like from organizations that are approved by the UKRI. So the point is, by the time you get the KTP role, and I'll show you how to get the KTP role, because that's like the major thing. That's the domino stone to knock off for you to actually get this thing done. Then, yeah, obviously you must have at least 1 year left in the So a KTP project lasts 12 months. So this works if you just got the KTP role or if you are going to be working on it, depending on how long you know the employment relationship. But for most of the things that I've seen, is usually above 12 months. So spend at least half of your time working on the grants, be working on the grants for at least 30,000 that covers at least 3 years. So most KTP roles, the least that I've ever seen for a KTP role that they are paying annually to you as your salary is over 60,000 pounds. So you are practically leading. So then along with your grant award, so the point is all of these documents practically be provided by the organization. Be provided by the organization. This is what it includes. Exactly, this is what it if you contribute to research in developing new technology or methodology, that research experience will be to university side. Must either have a UK bachelor's degree related, have an equivalent already and this and this and this. So the point is with a not UK degree, just like with a bachelor's degree and with the KTP role, you are able to apply for the global talent. So I'm just trying to show you how it is on this end. So once you have all these documents, all you just need to come to do is to apply for your endorsement here. Right? And see when you usually get the decision within 2 weeks. So now let's now go back to KTP, how you can get the KTP role or what it really entails. And then I'll give you example. But before I go there, there's something I'd like to make mention of. Okay, yeah. So what I wanted to make mention of is that whereas this is something I was saying earlier that this the benchmark to getting this particular route for the GTD is very that you can see I showed you on the website where it literally requires that with your UK bachelor's or a bachelor related to the UK bachelor's. And the relationship that is the research project you want to come and contribute to for the likes of it, you can go ahead and apply for endorsement. Just about 3 documents at the end of it. However, for the KTP project, so far, at least based because I think they've been the KTP side of things has been around since about 1995. And then as of 2010 up to now, KTP projects that have been delivered are about 14,000 KTP projects have been run. And we have been able to generate about 2.3 billion pounds to the UK economy and from KTP projects. So based on the data from like 2010, about 300 roles, about 300 KTP roles are out every year. So that gives an average of about like 30 per month. So the point is, I'm trying to make it that there's like a target. There are only about 30 and maybe maximum of 50 roles to be able to apply for in a month. Though more KTP projects have been applied for. And then definitely I'll still do a teaching, I'll still do a masterclass for businesses in the UK, business founders in the UK that would like to be a part of, that would like to really drive their business with all of that, to be able to contribute, to be able to partake of the perks that comes with the KTP project funding and stuff, right? But generally, as someone who is looking to engage this tribe, it is very important to understand that about 300, give or take 500 maximum in a year are out, except maybe that's just the current window. About 300 roles are available yearly, and that brings us down to about 330 in a month. So it means that it kind of communicate that maybe they're like limited, should I say limited roles available for KTP, or limited KTP projects available. But yeah, there are limited KTP projects available. However, on the end of things, on the end of the UK, they are currently working on even driving more KTP partnerships, KTP projects, because I don't want to go into the details of how KTP projects are created and all of that. Let me just focus on KTP Associates. So now you have an understanding that yes, it is about 30 roles that are always like out in a year, sorry, in a month, right? That's, you hold that on one end. Then on another end, the KTP roles or the KTP project is span across every discipline and sector. So, in fact, okay, this people say you might focus on design and introducing production perspectives, improving quality systems, or developing skills from within the field that you're already qualified, right? So that. So by them saying that it spans across every discipline and sector, it really spans across every discipline and sector. I am telling you, like the guest we brought on board, she's a product designer, and as a product designer, she built a design, human-centered design, and that's the way she's from. But it is a critical role. It is a critical role. So the point is, the first thing for you to do is to actually go and search for a role in KTP. And this is what you do. So there are places you can search for roles. In fact, simply putting it up on Google, KTP Associates, and finding out roles is the first place for you to start. Just go on Google, search for KTP roles. Let me go on. Let me do that. KTP Associates, so that I can show you what I'm talking about. Good. So I'm sharing my tab now. So see this, KTP Associates. This is directly from Google. You can see AI scientist. This was posted 21 days ago. See the amount that you're going to be paid. And it's not even about the amount that you're going to be paid. And one of the beautiful things about still being on this stuff is that you're getting a job, right? Before you even get to the UK, or if you're in the UK, getting a job, right? But you still have all the privileges that you have as a global talent visa holder. You still have all these privileges to yourself. You still have all these privileges. You see this one, research development activation, natural capital market research associates, then structural innovation leader. This is maritime. In the maritime sector, this is in engineering. Then this one, then systems engineering. So depending on your field and your background, for example, professional excellence. This one is for people who like, let me see. So you just go online and search for the ones that align closely to what you studied in school. Or not just what, not actually what necessarily you studied in school, because another thing you need to have in mind is that as a KTP associate, you're going to be trained for this. You just want you to have like primarily an idea and at least a BSc, a related BSc to submit as part of your application process for the job, right? But they're going to be doing the training, you're going to be trained, you're going to be getting strategic leadership training. And aside strategic leadership training, you're going to be getting mentorship from the knowledge base, the academic team, the research organization that is handling this work. So they are going to be the one training you, and you're not going to be leading the project on the end of the business, right? So that is something you need to know. So you search for all these jobs, the one that fall in line with your field. I've seen for people in health, for people who are like, you can see data scientists, for people who are like, see, sustainable processing lead, food processing. So, and after you've seen the one that fits you, you apply. Now, you might be thinking of what's it called? Okay, because that's what a lot of people do. Or maybe you do not qualify, or there's a lot of people applying. I can tell you for free that there's not a lot of people applying for these roles. There are actually not a lot of people applying for these roles, because these roles are not roles that are, on popular websites. I'm not sure you can even, I've not even done a search though, but let me check if I can see a KTP role on LinkedIn. KTP Associates. Let me check jobs. Not a lot of people applying for this job. So you don't want to get yourself in the rut of, oh, I'm going to be rejected. I don't have much background. You don't need a background. As long as you have an idea of what exactly they are looking for, you're going to be getting called for interview. And we're going to be getting called for interview, right? And the fact that these things are still off, it means they've not gotten somebody to fill up the role. They take it off when they have filled it up. So another thing you can also do, so there's an official platform for you to get your jobs. And this is the official platform, this place. So from the direct home of Innovate, when you just click, that's iuk-ktp.org.uk/jobs. You get to see some of the jobs there. For example, there are currently 21 job openings on this particular site. All right, featuring some of the jobs that you have seen in the other place. So, strategic transformation and processing. One thing about these jobs is that you now need to apply. You need to, obviously, you need to apply. And the way you apply is not just the way you apply for other jobs that you apply for. You have to apply very intentionally. You have to align yourself. You have to align your background to show how you can lead the project. So this one that is a strategic transformation and process improvement, practically, this you can see this post is a dynamic role that will in unique transform innovation project aiming to develop commercial decisions that improves operational efficiency and workforce capability in solar PV installations. So somebody in the solar PV installations, even from Nigeria, can apply, can put together a CV and apply for this particular role and get it. It is background in CV. So the thing is, as long as you have a degree and then as long as you have some skills that are aligned, in fact, the word knowledge transfer or transfer of knowledge already represent the fact that you're just rubbing off on maybe past experiences or learned experiences to get results done, and not necessarily built on an impressive CV. This is not built on like an impressive track record of CV. It's just built on intentionality, in, malleability, that is, are you teachable, right? Are you teachable, malleability, and the ability to be leadership capacity. And leadership capacity says that's you're going to train. So, and all of that. So, yes, you get 60 roles here, for example. So, let's go to this one. So, this is one of the platforms you can see jobs for KTP. Another platform you can see jobs for KTP is just pressing on Google, KTP jobs UK. Then there's another platform also that I'll go after this. To see the job description for this, you click apply now and start your application. So one of the things you can also do is that you can put your email on these platforms to always get notified when there are KTP roles available. Because they are, like I said, one of the things you also want to be very curious of, you want to like always maybe apply early when there's a job. For example, this job was posted on the 11th of May. This was just first today. It was posted 9 a.m. and it's going to close on the 25th of May by 11:05 p.m. So one of the things you can do is to fill in your email, especially maybe if you feel like any of the roles right there you do not align for. Again, if you look at this thing, this is just strategic positioning right there. Strategic positioning, and it's tailoring your CV just the way you intentionally apply for a job. Writing a cover letter that showcases that someone who is very intentional about getting things done. They're just looking for someone who is able to lead a project, is project management. In fact, I can say in essence, the most important skill in every of these KTP roles is project management, the ability to lead the project. Every other thing is going to be taught to you practically. Every other thing you're going to be you're going to need to be very good at the job. You're going to be taught. You're going to be mentored, and you're going to have an advisor that is going to help you and to get this thing done. So propose interview dates to be communicated. So once you apply, you get an update in your email. So let's just go into the details of this particular job. This is a strategic opportunity for ambitious graduates. You can see ambitious graduates to fast track their career development and strategic transformation and process improvement or knowledge transfer partnership associates. The successful candidate will undertake a 24-month collaborative project between UPOWA and the University of Southern. This post is a dynamic role that will lead a unique innovation project aiming to develop commercial decisions that include The lead will also speaking that this project supports boys. So the company or the business here is Power. You power or you power, whatever that is. I think it's Power. You power and contribute to UK net zero and house building aligned with the crucial option. The KTP embed new capabilities and standardize business approach that includes making decisions on capacity risks and digital readiness tools that align with customer and business needs. This position will be based in time at the Power's premise in widely Farham. Working as part of the Power team, there will be opportunity to travel to the University of Salford to enhance your skills and knowledge. In addition, we gain experience in engaging colleagues and stakeholders from across the entire organization and develop enhance your network. This experience will be position the candidate to have wide ranging knowledge and experience. This thing is one of the UK's largest graduate schemes. So you can see it's a graduate recruitment scheme. The KTP is a graduate recruitment scheme. And for graduate recruitment scheme, they are not necessarily expecting an impressive background. It doesn't rub off on an impressive background of oh, I've done this, I was the one that one can contribute. But what it as a graduate recruitment scheme, it is just a graduate recruitment scheme. So they are going to be holding your hand and then you're going to be getting things done for them. So you can see, a relevant degree in business, engineering, project management. I've been saying project management, operations management, supply chain management, or including related disciplines, i.e., degree apprenticeship. I don't know what degree apprenticeship is. What they are trying to just say here is that you just need to come and show that evidence that you have a BSc, right? Then you can see for this particular role, they also said a postgraduate qualification or equivalence in supply chain management, business classification, a related field would be desirable but not essential when applying for this role because it is a graduate scheme program. Then business design, culture change and action learning, development and specific capabilities that are essential requirements for this position. So it is riding more on soft skills and all of that. Yeah. So see the budget for personal development training that they're giving. This is 8 million in a year for those in Nigeria, right? Or £4,000 in the UK. So, and that is all of that about that. Go ahead and this one said so obviously you need to create an account. So you go ahead and apply. Mr. Denu Bon. Can you apply from outside the UK? They are asking for phone number. Yes, you can apply from outside the UK. 3, 4. I've included mine. Okay. So you can apply from outside the UK. Address. Can you apply from outside? Yes, you can. So that is me applying. Applying already. Then I put in my details. Then see what do you have a BSc in the yes or no? Yes. After letter, yes. Have you applied change management principles to implement strategic and deliver commercial operational? What commercial operational benefit you achieve? Please demonstrate with examples from your CV and part of the person's specification. Explain what you have done before. A related experience. Referring to the person's specification is give an example of a time. You can see this is like your normal value equipment scheme, right? And manage projects with issues and dependencies, including how you implement applications for to ensure successful delivery, right? We share an example of a project where you get them through and of digital tools. Discover you got involved in day-to-day work to help the company get what you want to, while ensuring everything will be companies for everything. Please demonstrate the enough to the mass count this 200 words. Okay. Can you confirm the ID for your job application to share the company partners where we discuss? Yes. Education and work history. So you add all of that, then diversity information. Get the system. That so you feel that open the CV. Then probably I think this one will be your LinkedIn. In fact, this one does not require. There was one that I was applying for that required me to upload my what's it called? that require me to upload like referees from my what's the word from my school, but this one doesn't require. So this is it, and after you get it, so the process once you apply for this job and you are shortlisted for the job, I think they actually allow, if I'm not mistaken, they shortlist everybody that applies for interview. So most of the time you get interview. This is a graduate training room, right? You get interview. That's the interview that determines whether you get the job or not, right? So after you get interviewed, and then they give you feedback about being employed, you will now be using whatever thing they are, you'll now be leveraging on this job, and as well as the details will be provided. So they'll be giving you specific documents which you now use to apply for the global talent visa. That is how it works. So usually, like they have said, the KTP associate position and KTP project, like onboarding and all of those things, the whole process can take, the recruitment process can take up to 6 months. That's it. The timeline for application is 1 month. So if you apply now, for the next 1 month, you are waiting to get the feedback. So after that, you get interviewed. After interview, they checks all of those things. So it can take in max 6 months from the point of application, you get to have your job offer. So once your job offer comes, you now use that to push forward to go get your endorsement via the endorsed funder round. And again, what are you getting from them? Oh, wow. What was I sharing before? Oh, you guys did not see this stuff that I was sharing. Or I was sharing this stuff. You guys will see it. Anyways, but so from there, you now go ahead to apply for endorsement. And what are the documents you need? These documents you need to provide. Like I said, I was explaining earlier that KTP projects are like they are grants. They are funded by the UK government and then by the partner business or the business that is driving the business. So your university or the research institution is going to be having a document that will prove this, right? Right? Then, so this is what you need a letter from the hospital state. So you're getting a letter, you'll be getting a letter from the founder of that particular KTP project. You'll also be providing a letter from the director of HR at the organization where you are working. So the partner business that employed you or the knowledge base is going to, the director of HR from the knowledge base or from the partner business is going to be giving another letter. So that's 2 letters. So the name of position, very, I have accepted that this, all right. So that this, so these are the documents you need to provide documents for all grants. Okay, so these are the documents, just these 2 documents, a letter from the endorsed funder. And what is the endorsed funder? The endorsed funder in this case is like it is going to be provided for you by the people who you get to be employed with, whatever university, they're just going to take the request. They're going to give that to you, right? For the purpose of your global talent visa application. Then, director of human resources at the organization where you're working. So, and once that is done, once you have those 2 documents plus your CV, if you need your CV, I don't think you need it. So, yeah, so you obviously provide your CV and then your personal statement, right? So then you just go ahead and apply for investment. That is that about that. So now, here, let us move on to questions. Okay, I said I was going to make mention of the other platform that you can get jobs from also. So the other platform is jobs.ac.uk. Jobs.ac.uk. This platform. So all you just need to do is to come and search for KTP Associates. Let me confirm. I think there's almost like 1 minute. So you check there. So are there questions? If you have questions, thank you. Type of questions. If you have questions, can you let them know? Okay, so let me check. All right. So if you have any questions, you can ask me. Again, this works for anybody. It works for everybody. You search for a KTP job, you apply for it, and again, the most thing about the application is that you just answer the question that you are being asked. Right? You answer the question that you're being asked. And then once you get shortlisted for interview, you get it. Do not bury yourself under, whereas, like I said, there are about 300 rules, KTP rules that are promoted every year. Do not get yourself under the feel that maybe you'll not be part of those. In fact, if you are having that mindset, it means that you will not actually get something like that. The first thing that you should actually school yourself to doing is to say, okay, I'm going to apply for this and then I'm going to get it. You're actually going to get it right. So because not a lot of people are going for this area yet. And that is why there's always like a very long time application. If a lot of people are going for it, I mean, if they open the application profile, if they open a particular job vacancy, it's going to close to next 24 hours. Yeah, 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 more like that. All right, so um, yeah, so we have come to the end of the show. If you go ahead and implement all that you have learned today, you go ahead and you get a job. And the beautiful thing about this is that it is more secure than a lot of things. It is secure in the sense that you have a job, not just a job, you're on a global talent visa. You're on a global talent visa. You have all the perks here, so because that's a business you do that very well soon in the UK, and you're looking for comfortable. So you're thriving. It's the government being even the one invested and then spending to make sure that you get to be at the top of your career at any given point in time. Right. So this is a more practical route. So if you have somebody who just graduated from university, wants to go to the UK, wants to relocate, especially for people that are outside the UK, wants to relocate to the UK and the person is trying to engage all these other routes, you can mention this route to the person. If the person needs further clarity, they can sign up with us for consultation. I didn't even do an introduction of myself initially. My name is Denu Bon, I'm the founder of GoLoko Diaries. And GoLoko Diaries, we are a global media publishing firm that specializes in UK jobs and global talent and visas, UK jobs and visas, specifically the global talent visa, and as well as book publishing and general writing and projects. And if you'd like to consider, if you're in the UK or outside the UK and you'd like to consider the UK global talent visa, reach out to us via the details in the description for a consultation, and we'll get the path that is right for you, your route to endorsement. Have a consultation with you to get your route for endorsement, and then we believe that with all of that done, you'll be able to move or switch to the global talent visa in record time. So there's a global talent visa for everyone who puts their mind to it, obviously, is qualified for the global talent visa. No, not okay, let me rephrase my statement. For everyone can get a global talent visa, but not that everyone is necessarily qualified. You either need to work on your qualification or you are currently qualified. So it's one of those two things. So either ways, there is practical way for you to lay over the global talent visa eventually. So that will bring me to the end of the show today. I trust you got the impact. If you're joining from, I would encourage you to join the One Circle community. We have sessions like this there privately. Join the launch circle. We have sessions like this that are more important like this. We have courses coming up for you, very free, that shows you how to move, how to try in the UK and more as a global talent worldwide. I wish you all the best and God bless.